Today at the Cayo Center for Employment Training Conference Room in San Ignacio, the administration and staff of St. Ignatius and Mopan Technical High Schools, as well as Dalil Academy and Independence High School, presented a proposal to their boards of directors and the Ministry of Education to introduce a street law curriculum at their respective institutions.
Basically, legal literacy, ensuring that you understand basic law in anything you do, whether it's from the time you wake up in the morning, whether it's buying something and getting a receipt, whether it's getting into a contract as a business person, and things of that sort. It's a collaboration and a partnership between the West and the South. So, indeed, it was not something that I could say was easy to start off. But getting the schools on board and with the permission from their board members was a bit more easier, because in terms of the concept, the core concept of street law, and trying to see how we could better educate our adult learners and our students as well.
The initiative will be piloted in the above-mentioned schools in January 2019, before, with the assistance of Ministry of Education, it will be expanded to schools across the country. The idea is to empower young people and adult learners in our society while embracing challenges, change, and advancement. It is essential for students to be knowledgeable about issues such as those relating to human rights, constitutional rights, and labor laws. Executive Director of Street Law Caribbean Limited, Dr. Christopher Malcolm, says that for development to occur, everyone has to better understand the law.
Street law is a simple concept of taking the law as it exists, trying to get it to the bare fundamentals, as we say, demystify it, and going to the average person on the street, in the communities, in the churches, wherever you find them, to give them a better understanding of the law and to help them to understand it and to learn how it affects them in a daily way, and for them to learn that they need to rely more upon it. So what we do, as we say, it's street law. So the whole idea is that we're taking law to the streets. We're taking it out of the cathedral, the universities and higher places of learning. We're taking it to a point where we say it is not elitist. It is for the common man. It was made for the good of everybody, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. And it is for us to ensure that everybody has access to it. Because, as I mentioned earlier, when you would have been here, that ignorance of the law is no excuse. So we have an obligation to make sure that everybody is as exposed to the law and as knowledgeable in it as is possible, so they can make better decisions by reference to the law.
The hope is that students will be able to identify positive and negative actions for change to develop themselves, the place they work, and the educational institution they attend. A training the trainers component will be rolled out in late August.
And that will include teachers and other persons, and having entered into this training of trainers program, which is to teach them the interactive method of how we use role plays, skits, and those sorts of things, debates and so on, to bring out street law. Then over the intervening period between August and, say, January, we will develop and clean up some modules that we hope to have delivered to students starting in January 2019.
You have willing teachers to start this initiative. Let's roll it out in January 2019. And it came about with the discussion from 4 of us principals to say, we need to train the trainers for 1 week, 2 weeks in August. We get our modules together, we get our lesson plans together, the teaching strategies together, for us to be able to roll it out in January. And indeed, it will be included in our curriculum.
And once we get it right in that pilot phase, the hope is that with buy-in and support from the ministry and the government, you can have a much broader rollout of the program by the academic year 2019-20. And in addition to that, of course, even though we're starting with the schools, and in these pilot schools, which are high schools, we intend to start working with the primary schools as well, and with the communities through community churches and other initiatives, because the idea is to make the law a living sacrament.
Neil says that the Ministry of Education is in full support of the street law initiative. Duane, Moody for News 5.